Good. Let's go and have a look what this professor has to say about farm murders. Because it seems they never listen to the farmers. They're not going to listen to a white professor either. But let's go and have a say. Good luck. Okay. So, Almin Duplessis, Associate Professor at the Northwest University at Potchefstroom, published the article widely quoted in liberal media. In which he states, I used AfriForum's own statistics to show that, in my opinion, the statistics do not support their claims of an ongoing genocide against white people, or even white farmers in South Africa. The thing that she's missing is the violence of the farm murders. And a lot of actually the murders on white people as well. The thing to remember about murders against white people, most of it is being done by criminals. You can say, well, murder, you have criminals in any case, but a lot of rural murders is a bit different. So the main thing to remember here is really that the murders are brutal. For instance, there is a serious amount of white murders where, it's just housebreaking, or, farm breaking. And what happens is, it's not like they're just breaking in when people are not around. No, they're breaking in when the people is either away and then they wait for them. That is the thing to remember. It is purely premeditated murder. So let's take, for instance, a house robbery. And this has been happening a lot. A lot. Like every week. Probably many times every week. So some family, they might be sleeping, and these robbers know they're sleeping. They come in, they tie up everybody, they'll basically intimidate them, and then what they'll do is they will beat up the husband. The wife will scream, they'll probably take the wife into another room, rape her, and then what they'll do is they'll go and shoot the dad in his head in front of the children and the wife and leave. They'll take a car, they'll take a cell phone, they'll drive away, and they'll chuck the cell phone in a dustbin, and the next day they find the car abandoned or set alight. And that happens the whole time. Farm murders, usually they're looking for guns. But the thing to remember here as well, they're taking 70, 80 and 90 year olds, and they brutally beat them. They would brutally continue ruining them for hours and hours and hours. These house break-ins or farm break-ins, they would literally go and take boiling water and keep on boiling water and throwing it over people and boiling the people over a 4 or 5 hour period to death. Or take a blowtorch, and burn people. Take a drill, who knows what you do with that. And take iron and burn people, brutally burn people, ruin their lives. And that is the problem with the crime on white people. It is torture. And this woman is all wise about it. Don't worry, it will happen to her as well. At some point, either her or someone in her family will get the same medicine. She's Afrikaans, a Dutch background person. She'll get the same medicine at some point. If they do that kind of stuff to people that actually fought against apartheid, then they'll definitely do it to this kind of person as well. And she can be all smart about it to say murder is murder. Murder is not always murder. You get serious torture. And I'm not saying there's not torture happening in other places. You get these gangs of youths. They'll catch a girl at the shebeen in the poor rural areas, and they will do the most horrendous stuff to her and kill her. That happens as well. Cut from the same cloth, you know. A violent crime. The one is a joyride, and the other one is basically just hate. You know, so she better be waking up. She'll quickly find out that she's going to be in the same boiling pot as these poor farmers. You know, 70, 80, 90-year-olds being brutally murdered like that. You know, you can't tell me that isn't hate. That's exactly what it is. Let's see what else she has to say. And she just plays the race card straight up front. First thing she has to say, I don't care what racist right-wingers has to say. I'm assuming every white male and every farmer is a racist right-winger in her eyes. Only liberal socialists are probably not. She's probably a feminist. She's definitely going to get it from someone at some point. I don't mean from some conservative person. She's definitely going to get it from one of these hardened criminals. You know, they do not joke around. They definitely do not joke around. There's a lot of mass murderers walking around in South Africa. It's quite funny. So she says it will take 432 years to wipe out farmers. That is just pathetic. That kind of reasoning, that is like a child reasoning. For a professor to talk like that, that is just utterly pathetic. You go and wipe out another 5 or 10% of farmers, they'll all leave. They'll either all leave, or what they'll do is they'll create compounds and start protecting themselves against the face of this kind of stuff happening. And that will be sort of a new ball game that a lot of people will not appreciate. It's quite funny. They're acting like, you know, you're just going to keep on murdering people like it's a model. You know, you're just going to have some mathematical model, you chuck it into a computer and it spits out a number for you. Everybody knows the world doesn't work like that. She's a real idiot. I'm pretty sure she's smart, but she acts like an idiot. So what? So we've got the 7th highest murder rate in the world. When it comes to farmers, that is much higher. That's one thing to remember. It's quite funny how everybody gets cut off the same cloth. You know, as if it's always the same. You know, you have a very, very diverse community in South Africa. It's not like, let's say, a place like Panama. We have, well, in Panama you probably got all the foreigners as well. But you've got the same poor people and rich people, from old and young, from the old days till now, you know. South Africa, it's a bit different. You have different cultures. They're all clashing. The one thing you have to know about Africa is it is fairly tribal. And they do a lot of violent crime. They're used to it. And it's a very lawless thing, Africa. You need a tough skin to live in Africa. Yeah. So there you go. But if farmers were a country, then it would be the highest murder rate in the world by a factor of 2. Double Honduras' murder rate. Now that should be an eye-opener for this woman. You know? May God judge her for their hypocrisy in this. This is ridiculous. So the average murder rate in South Africa is 34 per 100,000, but the average murder rate of the farmers is basically 150 per 100,000. A lot of farmers have already left. Nobody wants to farm in South Africa anymore. I mean, you can basically buy a really good farm like 1,000-acre farm in South Africa for like maybe like £350,000, £400,000. Nobody wants it. Everybody knows it's a death sentence. Yeah, some deaths are not even investigated. That won't be farm murders. Farm murders will be investigated. But there's definitely, like when it comes to the rural black areas, there's a lot of deaths that's not investigated. You know? If there's not going to be pressure put on the police force, they just won't do it. That's just how it is. They're already under a lot of pressure. Playing the race card again, saying all of these people complaining about the white farmers being murdered are racists. They should not talk about it. Yeah. I think colored people should start standing up for themselves as well. I think to a large extent they're being ignored. Same for the Indians. White people still have a stronger voice. Coloreds and Indians should definitely start doing a bit more of this for themselves. This woman, she's a professor. At some point she'll just leave. She'll just leave South Africa. You know, she'll go work in a university somewhere else, some college somewhere else. You know, I mean, if you have a PhD, it's fairly easy to get a job in another country. That's sort of the hypocrisy we're dealing with here. See what she has to say when this happens to her family or friends. Form WhatsApp groups and whatever in our community, in our towns. Yeah, man, so people are trying whatever they can to prevent violent crime from happening with them. Doesn't make a big difference. My uncle was staying in Cape Town. Actually, just outside of Cape Town. Really nice town. Very, very nice town. And they also have the sort of stuff where they have a WhatsApp group and they have like security and people patrolling the streets, you know, in the community trying to help make stuff safer. And yeah, a couple of guys decided to come into the house one night. They basically just like carved out one of the big windows, you know, not even a window you can open. They just carved out a whole massive window in the living area that wouldn't have an alarm linked to it because, I mean, you can't open it, right? You can only break it. And luckily my aunt woke up. These guys were so brazen they didn't even move. They were spraying stuff into my uncle's bedroom. So my uncle woke up because he heard my aunt, and he just rolled over, grabbed his revolver, and they ran. So then I had to put even bigger bars on everything to make sure that the criminals can't get in. Imagine what those criminals could have done to him. You know, they get my uncle's gun. You do not want to know the end result of that. Not pretty. Another uncle of mine the other day was hijacked with his wife in the middle of the day as well at gunpoint. Since then they haven't been the same. That happens a lot. I know a lot of people that hasn't been a victim of that kind of violent crime, or their family hasn't been. That never used to happen in the old days. In the good old apartheid days, that kind of stuff never happened. You can be upset with me saying that, but I remember I used to be small, walking around in the streets when I was like 7, 8 years old, not being afraid at all, not having to worry about violence or crime or nothing. Sleeping outside, nothing had burglar bars in front of it. You know, you really didn't have to worry about this kind of violent crime. By the time I just finished university, the people were so scared they wouldn't even go out at night for emergencies. It's a big deal. Here you go. 6% sentencing rate. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. That is what you deal with in South Africa. 6% sentencing rate. You know, the funny thing is everybody just kept on not talking about this kind of stuff till, what, 25 years later, right? Every time someone wanted to talk about it, as this woman says, you know, racist card, bigotry, bigotry, agenda. So people never talk about the stuff. And now the end result is messed up. A lot of lives ruined. Country under a lot of pressure. Whatever. Just talking about crime in general. Ha. Yeah, go. Okay, whatever. So let's see. Maybe it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. If she ever changes her mind, she'll probably just leave. Either way, I think she's a bigot. Okay, and that's going to be that.